Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zooming in on one particular source. It's a piece exploring a very famous, maybe even a bit unsettling quote.
Ah, yes, the one usually linked to Friedrich Nietzsche. If you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you.
That's the one. So our mission today is to unpack what this specific text says about it. What's the meaning here? What's the warning it pulls out?
And why it still matters, right?
Exactly. Why should you care now? The source frames it less as just like a philosophical tidbit and more as a serious caution about us, human nature, and how we deal with darkness.
Whether that darkness is, out there in the world or maybe inside ourselves.
Right. So let's dig into that word first, the abyss. How does this source see it?
Well, it explains it's not literal, obviously. It's treated as a powerful symbol, representing unknown depths, psychological darkness.
Like negative thoughts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, or even really intense passions you could kind of get lost in. It's the deep, maybe dangerous stuff.
Okay, so it's a metaphor for the tough parts of life or our own minds. And the main point this analysis makes is that spending a lot of time looking at that stuff, it's not neutral.
No, it's not just passive observation. That's key.
What does it argue happens then?
This source really emphasizes that focusing hard on something dark, for a long time, it doesn't just stay out there. It actually starts to, affect you.
So the abyss isn't just sitting there.
No, it argues the abyss starts looking back, like the quote says. It influences you. It can become part of, your own inner world.
And that leads straight into the big warning the source highlights, doesn't it?
It does. It's a call for real caution, especially when we find ourselves, dwelling on negativity.
Or just constantly focusing on all the difficult, dark aspects of things.
Exactly. Because, according to the source, that sustained focus can genuinely change us. The risk it points to is becoming absorbed by that darkness.
Losing yourself in it.
Potentially, yeah. If you're not mindful, it really pushes this idea that what you feed your mind, mentally, emotionally, that starts to shape you, or even consume you.
But hang on, this source adds an important layer, right? It's not saying just look away from everything difficult.
No, not at all. That's a crucial distinction it makes. It actually suggests that facing the abyss in some way is kind of necessary.
Necessary how?
For understanding ourselves, maybe? For growth. Developing resilience, even. The point this interpretation makes isn't really avoidance.
It's how you do it.
Precisely. How do you engage with it? Can you look at it, try to understand it, without letting it just swallow you whole or twist you negatively?
Right. It's about keeping your balance. This source talks a lot about being aware of what you're giving your attention to.
And having the discipline to stay grounded. It uses that lovely phrase, something like,
Be a friend to the light even when you look at the darkness.
That's the one. It's quite evocative. And it ties into the bigger picture this analysis paints. The ideas, the perspectives, the whole energy we let into our minds, it really, really matters.
It affects us deeply.
Profoundly. And we have a choice in that. We choose what to focus on, what to feed our attention. So choosing where you gaze is, in a way, choosing what shapes you.
Okay, so wrapping this specific deep dive up, the core takeaway from this source is look at the Nietzsche quote.
I'd say it's a strong caution. Be really mindful about where you direct your focus, especially towards negativity or chaos or the unknown.
Because that prolonged exposure, this source argues, changes you fundamentally.
And this is the important, by facing challenging things, is part of understanding and growing.
So the real skill, the wisdom offered here, is learning how to engage with that darkness while consciously holding onto your own light, your own balance.
Exactly.
So maybe something for you to think about as you go out your day. What feels like the abyss in your context? Is it scrolling through tough news, dealing with online negativity, maybe personal struggles? And then, thinking from this source's angle, are you finding ways to look at it, to acknowledge it, while still being that friend of the light? What ideas are you choosing to focus on to feed your mind today?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.